Bet you weren't expecting a video from me on this channel of all things too, and I know there's going to be a lot more people who are going to be just so much of a better deep dive than I will be doing here, but there's only so many people I can yap to about Xenoblade. It's my favorite series of all time, favorite piece of media of all time, and I figured why not just yap into the void that is YouTube. So we're gonna look through the trailer, and I'm gonna have like fun little theories here and there. Forgive me, this is very sleep-deprived Shady. I've been a little too excited about this. First thing that kind of caught my eye was the Colosseum-looking area. Maybe it doesn't mean much, it could just be part of world building, but a Colosseum either means you're gonna have some fun fighting stuff, or people fighting against their will, and there could be a lot there just based on that. Already an insane angle, you kind of know it's Xenoblade just from looking at something like this, where the world is just so weird, and you know there's going to be some kind of reason for it, but it looks like an enclosed kind of, like, space. Of course, you got some ancient-looking architecture showing that maybe this world is older than it seems, despite such a weird concept looking so new to us. I always love how they make these alien worlds feel so lived in. Like, you spend like an hour and all of a sudden it just kind of feels normal-ish to you, you know? We do have some cat-like people on the right. They're not quite Gormati or Rothian, probably just their own thing, but it is cool to see some other races in here. I'm already going to be that guy and just say that having a flame like this break off into like a familiar bluish-green color, it already has me thinking about a certain something. I feel like colors are kind of deliberate in this series, and once again, this doesn't have to be connected to anything, to the others, you know, the trilogy. I do feel there's something there, though. Also, just thinking about the subtitles there, it is an interesting thing to know that anima is apparently just the source of everything going on here, and anima in general is a pretty interesting word if you've played Xenogears or Xenosaga. Interesting word in general, by the way, you should look it up. You can make some fun comparisons through it. Watching this on the second go has me realize there aren't 6 suns up there yet. I'm assuming, I guess, there is a 6th sun later, and it is a different color, it's a lot bigger. I'm guessing that's the one that actually makes it daytime, and then it goes away at night. The question is, where does it go if it's an enclosed space? It already has me thinking about a lot there. Also, they're moving really weird. I don't know. I don't think they're suns. So we already have a title for people who can utilize the powers of anima. They're called Vesseli. Vessel, you know, is in there. The word vessel. I don't know. Maybe there's more to that. Very fun, familiar-looking auras, by the way. Doesn't have to mean anything, but it does look familiar. We have some elf-type characters, and I gotta say, I actually really love their designs. The face details are really, really nice, and I thought I'd actually be too attached to the art styles from the trilogy, but this just kind of makes me realize that good art is just good art. I think the art direction is fantastic. So we do have an academy setting, which is a little different. It feels more like a Fire Emblem kind of plot with that. I'm kind of wondering how long they stick with this plot. It's either going to be a full-on thing, or within the first 30 minutes, everything's going to be turned on its head, and the whole plot's going to be changed. I mean, remember how Xenoblade 3 kind of worked with the whole flame clock mechanic, you know? Also, excuse the voice cracks, I've been screaming so much lately. A lot of good games this week. So here to introduce something called Anima Crystones. It seems that these stones are used to call upon the power of anima, which is interesting. It also says that it stores people's memories. Yeah, thoughts and actions, which is very core crystal-y. And I'm gonna tinfoil hat again, but I do like seeing, or I have noticed at least, the prominence of Malos, or Logos, and Numa colors. Right here, of course, you have a Malos-looking color, but then it very much looks like a, you know, it looks like Numa's blade a little bit, you know? So, little curious about that. A little curious. It's also the most sci-fi looking sword in this whole thing, at least to me. In a very high fantasy looking setting, you know? It's interesting. Actually, putting them side by side, it really does look like the Numa blade. Bananas are confirmed, in case anyone was wondering or having a really, you know, hard time hoping that there'd be a little bit of banana representation. There you go. Rejoice. Bananas are a solid 6 out of 10 fruit, by the way. The minute they start running here, you know it's Xenoblade. Look at that view, it's so good. I also love that we have a dude who's a bow user here. We've had bows in the past, I think, with like Juniper and all that, but it's just a nice like weapon class to see. It's always really funny when you can tell who the main characters are in a group of NPCs. Something fun to point out though is that not all of them have elf ears. Interesting. Also, the red-haired elf lad on the left there, pay attention to the weapon there. Having mounts is really, really cool. I'm wondering if this game is going to have a Xenoblade X level of traversal where it's kind of seamless, there's no loading zones. I'm thinking the reason they're giving you faster movement is because of that, but we'll have to wait and see. More fun Ouroboros or Mobius looking aura here. And I do like that the slash not only cuts off the thing's horn, the monster, but it also slices the rock behind it. Powerful. Good. I like this guy's design. He looks cool. And I mean, if he ends up being really cool, I'd like to cosplay him. But on top of that, of course, we see a fun mix of colors here. We see that purple, we see that green. We're not saying... I'm not going to say much. There's also blue. I mean, who knows what blue could be, right? But I do like that when he slams into it, there's like a draconic or like demon looking hand that comes out of the ground, which is neat. I wonder if that's an extension of him or the power of anima calls upon just something else. Kind of an interesting to think about. Once again, Numa colors. Doesn't have to mean anything, but there it is. This one is huge. This one's really, really big, honestly, and I was kind of freaking out the more I looked at this. But obviously, there's a big building or mountain there in the middle of a crater, implying this could be an impact site. It doesn't really look like a mountain, does it? Kind of looks like a ship, kind of looks like rusted metal, looks very, very ancient. And, well, that's all I'm going to say for now, until we get to, like, the little theory part. But just know that that's a very, very interesting thing, and I feel like some older Xenoblade fans are going to... I'm sure some of you know where I'm trying to go with this. There's, like, a little building or something right nearby, and that's kind of it. It looks pretty barren around it otherwise. This person's design is pretty unique too. It looks more like a Colony 9 like Shulk design. On top of that, they have that same like gun stock looking part. It actually looks like either a pump action shotgun or like a railgun that folds out. So, you know, we're kind of leaving the fantasy there a little bit. Which once again, Xenoblade is very good at hiding a sci-fi plot under the veil of high fantasy. And I love that. I love it so much. I do also think that this might be the same red-haired elf guy we saw earlier, just because of the weapon style. But maybe not. Who knows? Either way, this probably means that you can customize some a good amount of outfits. Which, yes, please bring back big cosmetics. We got some cool fights. You know, you learn a bit about the characters in the slight amount of time that we get. Pretty interested in this one. That girl doesn't need a Christstone to use her powers, meaning either she's born with some magical powers or something, or she's able to just pull straight from anima naturally somehow, which that has to be something, right? I mean, just plot-wise, there's got to be some level of high importance to that. All right, there's a lot to unpack with this one. First of all, whoever she's fighting kind of looks like an Ouroboros design mixed with some other stuff. Either way, once again, it is a little removed from the high fantasy. It's a little there too, but once, like, you know what I mean. The design just kind of looks it's very Xenoblade. I don't know where they're fighting. It looks special. There's like some murals on the back as well, and I mean, I can't really make out all of that, but the top left one interests me because it either looks like a plant, or it kind of also just looks like the ship and the impact crater. It looks like it might have landed there. Bottom left could be the ship flying through the air or something. I don't know, but it's fun to look at, and I'm sure, you know, other theorists, or, you know, proper theorists are going to be doing a deep dive into all of these. The top right one is extra special looking, so I'm very curious. So when I was streaming this, someone in my chat pointed out how Malos-y this guy looks. Very, very Malos-like. And you know what? I'm gonna hang on to that. I'm gonna hang on to that for a second. It could just be a fun look, but I don't know. I also feel like this character, this is either like a flashback and we're seeing something involving a very special person, or they're just able to do hologram video calls. I mean, that little scepter over there that person's holding is probably projecting it. Maybe not. I don't know. Bro here looks like if like a Malthus and Mumkar had a kid, which would be the worst thing ever conceived ever. I'm guessing this is the main character's brother, or, you know, who we think is the main character at least, because she does mention her brother at some point. That ain't no Nopon, but I like him. It brings the question, though, are the Nopon around? Or is this just another sign that we have some new beginnings going on? Some more cool designs. This is Zord after a fly bit him. Are you feeling old yet? I don't know why, but I just feel like he's gonna have an Australian accent or something. He just seems like the Xenoblade type to have the Aussie accent. Either way, cool design. We have one of the main characters here, purpling out, as I'm gonna call it. At first I thought he was the purple monster-looking human thing that we saw earlier, but it doesn't really seem like it now. It could be, maybe not. But him being able to summon that hand has me thinking there's a lot more to the aura and the powers there. And maybe, once again, that's an extension of him, or we're just calling upon something else. Maybe anima itself can manifest. I don't know. We'll talk about that. This part's neat because with the addition of this character, when they show all the other faces, there are 6 of them. Now, that could mean nothing, but there are these mysterious 6 suns. And we also have that Numa green light again, and she sent something up to those 5 suns, which are just chilling. This bud has 7 little buds. That probably means nothing, because now it's feeling like real Tin Hattie. There's a secret 7th thing. No, it's fine. But there it is. Now there's another sun. Now, curious, you can still see space behind here. But once again, if this is an enclosed world, how are we seeing a sky in general? How are we seeing space? And then someone in my chat pointed out something kind of fun. But on the bottom left there, it looks like you can see one of the continents. So, is this the water? Is this actually a sky? Does the sky look, or does the water look like a night sky at night? And if that's the case, like, what's going on? How does that even work? You know, I mean, looking at it now, and if you play Xenoblade enough, and just by the plot that it's giving you here, there's no way these are suns, right? It's got to be something else. Those stars in the back, probably not, you know, maybe it's something shining from outside the world. Who knows? Also, I realize now, does the red sun move at all? I actually can't tell. I don't know if I'm seeing an illusion or not, and like it looks like it's moving to me, but it also looks like it's just staying still completely. And then we have a big line here. The vengeance of a fallen god had yet to be fulfilled. I know what some people are thinking already. I don't think this has anything to do with John Z word. I'm trying not to spoil anything yet. I don't think it has anything to do with that, because I do believe the Klaus arc really is over. We can still extrapolate something from Vengeance of a Fallen God, which we'll go into. We'll go into. That lava area over there. And other people were talking about this too. But the lava lakes are so incredibly neat. Like, there's like perfect circles here and there. Now, sure, that could be a fun thing that just happened naturally somehow. But at the same time, maybe there's more going on there. Maybe whatever they're inside, if it is maybe like machine in nature, maybe that is the more, you know, machinery portion of the world, and maybe that's why the temperature is so high. Maybe something's malfunctioning. Maybe that's just I just feel like there's gonna be a lot of lore in that specific area, but who knows? And of course, we have the name. Xenoblade Genesis. There's no Chronicles. It's Xenoblade Genesis. What does that mean? Does that mean it's over? Is Xenoblade Chronicles done? Like, yeah, it's done. We had a whole trilogy arc. Xenoblade Chronicles is done. Is Xenoblade done in the sense that, you know, is the perfect work story going? Is this still part of an overworld story? I genuinely think that the answer is yes. If it's its own thing, I still trust it. I just love Monolith Soft and Takahashi. I let them all cook, you know? But let's play devil's advocate here, and let's assume they are connected, because there's so many little things in here that are either related to the past Xenoblade games, or even like Xenosaga, mostly Xenogears, honestly, out of all of them. Of course, I mean, we can mention a couple things here, like how it looks really crystally. We have the Crystones. It has that purple again, which, I mean, there's blue in there too. We can't ignore that. We can't just be like, it's that Mallows purple. There's blue, which could just, you know, offset all of it. And maybe the colors are not deliberate this time around. But colors have always seemed to be important theming. Which, another thing I want to mention actually is when we're looking at the 6 suns, it could just be the glow of the sun. I'm almost sure it's just the glow of the sun. But that is a very, very familiar red. It's like the same red they use for, you know, a certain core. Which would be interesting, because it would be this color in a new world. But we'll get to that. Either way, this looks awesome. This looks very, very cool. I'm very, very excited for this game. And, well, my sleep-deprived self has a couple theories here. You could feel free to judge. They are, they're interesting in their own ways. You can call me crazy, and that's fine. But I think the fun part about Xenoblade theorizing is that you really could go off the rails, because it really could be anything. any crackpot theory you might have a credence of truth to it. So why don't we explore this together? I wrote it down in a notepad so I don't try to, keep this going for too long. Just for the record, there's going to be spoilers for the entire Xenoblade trilogy, spoilers for Xenosaga and Xenogears, and even Xenoblade X. So if you don't want to be spoiled on Xeno anything, you can just cut the video here, and I'll see you around. But yes, okay, Theory 1, Malos' second coming and something wave existence. I know, already you're just like, what is he talking about? So, of course, we know from the Xenoblade 3 art book that Takahashi, he's not quite done with a few plot points. For one, Malos is apparently in En's sword, or just is En's sword. I do feel like there was a bit of a deliberate wording here as well. He mentions Malos and not Logos. Someone can correct me if I'm wrong here, but it sounds like the personality survived, and of course, like, the core didn't. Which, I mean, we saw the core get destroyed in 2. We did that ourselves. Now, I do think that the Aegises have souls, even though they started off as, like, these computer, like, legit just computers and AIs. I do think having that connection to the conduit, it allows them a lot of ethereal things here and there. So them having a soul and personality, I feel like is just incredibly possible. And of course, we've also seen that they can split off into different personalities. The different personalities can exist at the same time. There's a lot of crazy stuff going on there. So something to keep in mind. Crazy nonsensical thought time. Let's say we bring X into this for fun as well. Could it be possible that because of the Aegis's connection to the conduit, Malos' soul was able to move into the conduit, essentially giving it a conscience? Which I know, once again, it sounds kind of weird, but just stick with me. There's like a ton of like purple theming everywhere for things that could be pulling from the conduit or near conduit level power, if anima could be considered that, which is already an interesting thing. But of course, even in other games, with like Mobius, Ouroboros, even the Ares Prime, we have that same like purple color theming, right? Al also mentions, which by the way, how's it poppin', chat? Al also mentions that the Ares Prime seems to have like a consciousness in some form as well. Like it's able to think or whatever. There was something there. And, if it wasn't just like a stylistic choice, it could explain why the conduit was, purple in X. Which, by like FYI, I do think it's the same conduit that we see in Xenoblade. I don't think there's like more than one or like an alternate conduit or anything. I think just the conduit is like this eldritch object that can exist in all universes at the same time. I mean, it is technically like a gateway as well, like a, the whole metaverse manifold or whatever you want to call it, So yeah, maybe it being purple is like a representation of Malos being a part of it now. And then you might be thinking, well, what about the Sumerians? Because they if we're connecting all of it, they would be like the earliest point, right? I have a ton of dumb theories about them too. I'll keep it short. I do think like maybe like a Xenosaga universe time loop event kind of thing happened where like the universe got destroyed and then maybe restarted. I know we already have lore about universes being destroyed in X, but once again, I do think that maybe something like that happened and then that's why they kind of appeared at the start of the universe is what, that's what we were hearing, that they moved into this one or like a time loop or something happened. I do think that the Sumerians are just humans, just evolved. And yeah. I also thought at one point that all the alien races you meet that also crashed on Mira are just like Earth animals that the Sumerians had, and they just allowed them to evolve in different areas. But, a detail to take note of is that the Sumerians also have elf-looking ears, so there could be a fun connection there too. Another crazy thing I want to mention is that fans have kind of stated that Malos, he kind of functions like a Jesus Christ stand-in. If you look at the Aegis as like the Holy Trinity, he falls into that position more so than the other two. I mean, even in Torna, he seemingly dies. He gets like disintegrated by Mithra, but then he comes back. And if we were to follow it, there's still the point of the second coming that would need to happen. And there could be a fun thing there involving the second coming, because could he come back as the same guy? Could he come back as someone completely different? Could he come back as more than one person? If the consciousness splits, who knows? This is kind of where anima falls in, being the source of everything, having that color when the power is pulled from it. Even the fact that it has like some Pneuma elements to it as well. I genuinely think that the Aegises have some kind of role to play here still, whether it's the cores themselves or the actual souls of the characters, or something there. The fallen god could also be interpreted as Malos, kinda. I know you can make the argument of, well, he's not a god, like this guy and that guy were gods in Xenoblade, but I think the fun part about Xenoblade is that no one really is like a god. Like, the minute there's someone godly, you're gonna meet someone who's like godlier, and then you're gonna kill that person, essentially maybe even making you godlier. But I think that's the fun part of it, is that, like, it's just people who assume the role of God. It doesn't end with, like, actual, you know, God. You know what I mean? So people would 100% see Malos as a fallen god, in my eyes at least. But it also brings the point of, like, the whole wave existence thing. If he happened to be the consciousness inside of the conduit, it would make him the wave existence now. Now, of course, that takes away the point of the wave existence being this, like, higher being, and that's still a really fun, like, eldritch plot point to explore. So I would love to see something like that. But if they keep it like this too, I mean, that would also be neat. Once again, very tinfoil hatty. Takahashi also implied in the art book that there was more to the nature of Origin and Ionios. And he was basically like, oh, well, this happens because of that, but I can't really say yet. Maybe a different game can handle that, or maybe this is the game to talk about that. But when I think about Ionios, and when I think about the world of Xenoblade 1, I do find myself thinking about the imaginary numbers domain. Especially the fact that if you feel such a strong will or a strong moral or something, you can actually manifest that feeling into something physical, like the Monado, you know. And I feel like stuff like that, it would just be so possible in a place like the imaginary numbers domain, where you have, like, collective, you know, the collective unconscious. It's collective, not subconscious. Yeah, collective unconscious. Like, stuff like that is really cool and interesting to think about. I don't know if that'll play a role here at all, but you know, this does feel like a world that could exist inside of an imaginary number domain. This, you know, like a mental space. Theory 2, Xenogears. It's Xenogears, sorta. Xenogears and Xenosaga as well, but let's stick to Gears on this one. But Xenogears had anima relics, which were items that allowed the characters' mechs, known as gears, to transform into stronger weapons called Omni Gears. Now, it's been a while since I played Xenogears, but I'm pretty sure they were part of, like, the biological computer, Katamoni, or however you pronounce it, which is, that computer came from a spaceship that landed on the planet 10,000 years ago. Already, I mean, the relics there, you can already compare to Genesis here, right? We also have what looks like that broken piece of a spaceship in the crater, which is insane, because if it is actually that, it's not the first time we're seeing something like that. Xenogears had a very similar thing, Tower of Babel. And, oh man, it'll be so cool if they really are pulling from that, because that is one of my favorite moments. I do want to mention, too, that it looks like the tip of the spaceship, if this is a spaceship, is at the top. And the reason why that you know, interests me is that, one, maybe, I don't know, maybe it spun around and landed this way conveniently, or if this really is some enclosed world and there's something outside of this world, which there has to be, the ship crashed in from the outside. Which I don't know how a reverse crater would look. Maybe it looks just like this, or maybe it would be different. But I kind of... It would be neat. It would be neat to think that it actually came from the outside instead. Maybe entering this area is how you can get outside the boundaries of the world, you know? Maybe you go in there, and then when you come out the back, you're just outside. I don't know. I'm just getting excited over little things like this, but I don't know. It's so interesting. Of course, even if it does pull from Xenogears, it's not going to be Xenogears 1-1. Especially when there was a lot of parallels to Gears, especially in Xenoblade 3 with, like, Noah and Mio's whole thing. But that doesn't mean we won't get something, you know, related. And, you know, if we get any character names that sound like Ellie, Abel, or Cain, or whatever along those lines, maybe look back on this one. Theory 3, there are humans from Earth that left before Klaus pushed the button. Small, simple theory, but the ship could just be one of the ships from Earth that left. It doesn't explain the world they're in, but maybe the conduit being, you know, the button being pushed did something. Who knows? Or maybe they made the structure themselves. You know, a sphere surrounding a star is very, like, Dyson sphere-esque. That being said, a Dyson sphere, if they're going for accuracy with stars, a Dyson sphere would be gigantic, and of course these stars would be gigantic, which is why I think, once again, these aren't stars, but it still could be a Dyson sphere setup. I don't know. Either way, I do like to think it's that, because that way they're still able to separate from the Xenoblade plot, make it its own thing, but still connect it back as well. Theory 4, Samar, not really a lot here, I kind of explained it earlier, but this could be a Sumerian story. I also, once again, it could be Sumerians were humans, blah, blah, blah. but Genesis could imply a fresh new story given the name Genesis, which I'm not, I don't know a lot about the Bible, but that is like a first chapter or something, right? So it could imply the beginning, not just new beginning. It could also just imply the beginning, as like a prequel. I don't personally think it's going to be a prequel if it is connected, but if it is, I mean, I'll be just as excited. Okay, Theory 5's a bit of a weird one, so stick with me on this one. This is a virtual world for the Trinity core processors to develop in, but it's also somehow real. So, you can chalk this up to me being sleep deprived or not, but if you guys remember, if you bought the, not Ion, Siren? The Siren model, physical, it came with some extra lore on Xenoblade 2. One of the things mentioning that the Aegises, or the Trinity core processors, were raised in like a virtual environment to help develop their personalities and whatnot. Someone feel free to correct me if I'm wrong, but I do recall that being something. Now, stick with me on this, but what if that virtual, program stuck with them? What if that's in their internal memory, or it's inside the core itself? And, we already know that they have such, being connected to the conduit, you can manifest these things into reality. Maybe you can. I'm not saying like it's a fact that you can. But let's just think for a second, what if this is all happening inside of a Trinity core processor? Which is why they can pull power from Anima, which could be, Malos, Logos. They're pulling from that, the purple. And maybe that's why we even see like some Numa parallels, because they are all connected in a way. And maybe this whole thing and the whole like fallen god vengeance and all of that, maybe we're just trying to either get the processor to figure something out, or we're trying to wake it up, or maybe we're trying to wake up one of the Aegises or something. Now, once again, I don't believe this one really at all, but I just thought it was a fun thing to talk about, because that would, I would also see that as something neat, where these people do exist, but they exist within an enclosed space, a universe in itself, which is not new to Xenoblade. It would just exist somewhere inside the core itself, one of the Trinity cores or something. Theory 6, this one I really don't believe, but Theory 6, the world is containing itself from corrupting anything outside. Let's consider it like a prison. What if the magical shenanigans in here had to put everyone in like a quarantine? Maybe because of the conduit and, the ghosts or something completely separate, but what if it's just like normal outside and people, maybe even people are peering in, hence the lights that probably aren't stars. Maybe those are, maybe those are either, maybe not people peering in, but maybe those are just parts of like machinery or something. Those are just like actual computer lights. I don't really believe in this one, but a containment field for a lot of magic stuff going on, I could also see being a fun little plot point. And maybe because of that, people evolved in here separate from the outside. I also like to think of like, let's say you do break the boundary. I feel like that's going to happen in this game. How funny would it be is, you break out and then you see the world of Xenoblade, or you break out and I don't know, you're in like New York or something. But anything is possible with this series, right? Very interested either way. Theory 7, Juju crashed his buggy so hard he's seeing stars. Now, this one I really, really believe and hold close to my heart. But Juju probably crashed his buggy on a straight road, and the lights are hospital lights. No, I definitely believe this one. I'm very serious about this one. The 6 sons are the party members telling him to wake up. Ricky isn't there though, because he's busy eating the Xenoblade equivalent of Krispy Kreme donuts. I actually wrote that down on my notepad, and I just went and read it all to you. Hey, slightly future Shady here. I just wanted to mention one more theory that really isn't my idea. It was just more so stuff that I was reading and talking to some friends about. But, sir, Theory 8. The world is a spaceship or space station, and it's, a ring world, maybe using centrifugal force to, keep or simulate gravity. And they've just been living this life for so long that they have forgotten that they are a space colony. They just think this is just the world that they live in. This is all natural. Fun thing to think about. Very, very Xenoblade. I can totally see it. Anyways, that's just me yapping about Xenoblade Genesis. I'm very, very happy. I quite literally have the Xenoblade 1 Definitive Edition, or sorry, Switch 2 Edition opened up right now. I've been doing some races, but I just really needed to get this out. So, yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. To whoever, you know, chooses to come by and see this, I hope you guys are also very excited for Xenoblade. I love meeting new Xenoblade fans and all that, so please feel free to sound off in the comments with your own theories and whatnot. And I would love to communicate with y'all. Hey, future Shady again. I also wanted to mention that if you ever want to hang out, you can follow me on twitch.tv/shadycicada. I do plan on streaming Xenoblade X Definitive Edition soon. I have played it, but my chat has been very much enjoying me going through the story of Xenoblade, because for a lot of them, it's their first time getting to see it, and seeing their reactions and theories is just such a treat. With Xenoblade X, I think it'll be a lot more fun too, because people can, you know, join the same server that I'm a part of and, you know, hunt stuff with me. So if you want to hang out, feel free to do so. Of course, there is my main YouTube channel if you ever want to check it out. I do make video game music for a living, so if you want to see some of my work or fun music challenges that I do, it's all there. My music's on Spotify. I have merch on shadycicada.com. You don't got to worry about any of that, but if you want to see all that stuff or follow me on Twitter or Blue Sky, it's all completely up to you. Have yourselves a lovely day, and I will catch you very soon. Here's to good video games. Goodbye.